The headline for this is a little deceptive, but I'll argue it's probably not far off. In fact, I think it's desirable, but every single metric. And it says this: the San Antonio Spurs are heading to Austin. Yeah, sort of. But hang on. Now, hang on. There's a lot more to this, I think, that people need to put their arms around. Until Austin gets a team of its own, this is the next best thing. The San Antonio Spurs are coming to town for games on the 6th and 8th of April, and they play the Trail Blazers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Both games are at the Moody Center. Now, don't write this off and say, so what, Jeff? I don't care. They suck. Who wants to go to the game? I think there's a lot more to this. Here's what an executive with the Spurs has to say. A lot of thought went into this, and we want to be intentional and purposeful about the Spurs integrating into Austin, says Brandon James, SVP of Strategic Growth. He says, we want Austin people and businesses to identify with the Spurs as their NBA team. That won't happen, by the way. Austin is not identifying with anything. Okay, just to be clear. But I think this is the tip of the iceberg. And I can argue the case and give you plenty of evidence, and then you can decide what you want to do with it. He goes on to say, we want to be Austin's professional basketball team. The city has been super receptive, and they're hungry for pro sports and NBA basketball. And the answer to that is, meh. You know, Austin is the only place in the country when you talk about professional sports, the response is, meh. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work here. And there's the story. Okay, Austin is the only city in the country where the response to bringing a professional sports franchise, I'm not joking, is meh. The response may be more like, well, sure, whatever. Huh? I got something to do. Okay, I'll do that instead. That's it. The Spurs want to be here. Okay? That's not new, by the way. And I don't think this is new, and I don't think this is going to be written off. I think there's a lot more to this and others, and you can decide if it's worth it. They make the move, and other stuff lines up. I think other stuff might be lining up anyway. They're not the only professional franchise wanting to be here, and I would say be here as fast as possible. Any major sports franchise in a mid-sized city, probably not named Green Bay, wants to be here. The NFL would want them to be here. The NBA would want the Spurs to be here. The Spurs would want to be here. I can go down the list and just say practically anybody and everybody would want to be here. The ownership groups across the board want to be here. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey are all in play. I think all on the table, and you better pay attention the next 5 to 10 years. I don't think this is the only story. But there's complications. Austin FC is a financial home run. It is. MLS, just so you know the history of making that deal go down, the MLS wanted to be here. They'd been wanting to be here for some time. It's one of the best. It's on top of every single economic metric, which is most important. It's a huge soccer market anyway, 1 or 2 in ratings for the World Cup. So MLS desperately wanted to be here, pulled it off. It's been a financial home run. On the field this year, not so much, but a financial home run. Everybody else noticed. Everybody else saw it. The Spurs know it. And any NFL franchise knows it, and they want to be here. It wasn't that long ago. This is what's funny about this entire thing. And to understand when I say it's a economic home run, if you haven't been to a game, then I need to tell you. If you've been to a game, you know it's an economic home run. If you look at any school in this city, you know it's an economic home run because like 3 out of 10 kids are wearing one of those $125 jerseys. The sky boxes are sold in probably half an hour. In other cities, it would take you a month and a half to do that. It's the place to do the entertainment business, as you know. So every city not in Los Angeles or Chicago or New York, Atlanta, Phoenix, probably Seattle, Denver, probably Houston too, would want to be here. It's just trying to figure out how to make it happen. Does this city want another professional franchise? Sure, maybe, whatever. Meh, okay, maybe. That's the answer. It's the only place like that. You don't care. Now, you'd go, I guess, but you don't care. There's other stuff to do. Remember this, and I don't think it was a one-off. The Buffalo Bills, we almost had the DeBronfels Bills. We almost had the Round Rock Bills. We almost had the Selma Bills. We almost had the Manor Bills. Because the Buffalo Bills, on a whim, out of the blue, with no justification whatsoever, floated the idea because they needed a new stadium. They floated the idea they were coming here. Some reporter asked the mayor of Austin at the time, I called him the funeral home director, but they asked him and he said, wait, what? Huh? I hadn't heard that. Sure, whatever. The Buffalo Bills then got their taxpayer financed stadium. Okay, so like everything else in corporate welfare, it is the leverage everybody uses. That's Austin. I don't think this one's a throwaway, though. I do think they want to be here. I do think they're trying to figure out a way to make it happen, just like every other professional sports franchise wants to make it happen. So prepare yourself for a lot more of this stuff. I don't know that it's a bad deal. If you build them a stadium, it's a stupid deal. You're a fool. You do not. You're a fool to build an owner a stadium or an arena. But guess what? We got a brand new arena, don't we? Just held, what was that, the CMAs? What, CMTs or CMAs? What was that? I mean, well, Jeff, weren't you there? Aren't you a huge country? Yeah, of course I'm a country fan. I went to see John Denver last night. No, it'll happen. It'll happen. It's just a matter of which suburb is going to build somebody a stadium. So does the city want another pro franchise? Yeah. But there is no way, just so you know this, there's no way in the next few years, there's no way an NFL team will come here. The Buffalo Bills weren't going to come here. If, I don't care, fill in the blank, whatever NFL franchise, I don't care what kind of financial problems they're having, they're not. But I don't care what city it is, they're not coming here. An NFL team is not coming anywhere near this city as long as Jerry Jones is alive. Okay? He's the most powerful person in football. And you know what's not going to happen? Austin going to take what's his. That's not going to happen. Now, when Jerry's not with us, then look out. Look out. I don't know who gets in the way of Austin getting a professional franchise. But when he's not around, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked at all. The Spurs story is very real, and I think if they can figure out a way to get out of San Antonio, where it probably takes a long time to sell a skybox, and come to Austin, where it takes about half an hour to sell a skybox, they'll do it. They'll do it. They're not going to be able to pull off this idea of, well, we want to play in Austin some and San Antonio a lot, and then we get the Austin market. You only get the Austin market if you're here and people want to buy it, because there's a bunch of stuff to do. The upside to being in Austin is there's money, there's disposable income, there's skybox sales. It is corporate haven. The downside is, there's other stuff to do. That's the problem. So Austin will not build anyone a stadium, I don't think. We can argue this. Austin didn't technically build the Q2 stadium. Technically. The owner got a sweetheart deal on some land that I used to call Chernobyl, but we didn't build them a stadium. I don't know what else it would have been used for, so I don't really have that much of a problem with that stadium deal. But otherwise, there is not a mayor, in my opinion, unlike 95% of every other major American city. I don't believe anybody in politics here would turn around and say, hey, taxpayers, wouldn't it be cool if fill-in-the-blank professional franchise moved to Austin? If you could just go halves with the owner on a stadium, then we'll do it. I don't think it happens. I don't think it's pitched. I don't think a mayor would ever even introduce it because you don't need to. You know, in fact, we need just the opposite. We don't need it. So that won't happen. But it won't stop. And what I can't answer, I don't know. Maybe Williamson County does. That's usually how these deals work. The suburbs will build a rich person a stadium or arena. In the case of the Spurs, the reason why it makes perfect sense is, hey, you already got this cool place. Huh? Well, we just got to slide in there and just start playing. And, oh, by the way, we want to split some skybox sales for you. Yeah, that can happen. I think this starts to pick up momentum. I think it picks up momentum in other sports, and I think it picks up momentum in suburban areas. And I don't think this will be the last time you hear a story just like this. Should the Spurs make the move? Yes, of course. I don't know what their deal is with the arena they have with the county. It probably sucks for the county. But I would assume as soon as they could get out of that, if they could have an arena to play in here, and they don't have to. Remember, the rule in pro sports is always this. Ownership says, minimize my risk, maximize yours. That's the way it works. And stupid taxpayers do it. It won't happen here. They have to find an equation that works for them to slide in, start playing, and sell the skyboxes to make some money. Outside of a basketball team coming here, whether it's baseball, football, even hockey, suburbs, you're on the clock. You're on the clock. It would just take the Spurs throwing that door open for other sports, other franchises to say, you know what, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should play in Williamson County. They'll build us a stadium. I think it might happen. I do. I think this is a logical attempt by the Spurs to say we need better economics. You got it there. The only thing stopping the next professional football franchise from coming here, the only thing, the old man in Dallas. While he's alive, no NFL team is coming here. Once he's not alive, game on.